Hello, welcome to my presentation of Solar Project. This is what has been, this is what I've been working on for the past, how much is that, 4 or 5 days. It's something that I found very, it's a project that I found is lacking outside of UK. UK has a really big scene in specialty, and there's few people who actually started making a website just for baristas and roasters and everyone who works in specialty coffee industry. And I realized there's nothing like this here in Spain or in Portugal, where I used to live for the past 6 years. So I decided to endeavor on this project and hopefully make it live after the senior dev. So this is a actual project that I would like to work on. So let's start. The name is Coffee Accelerator. The main thing of this is just to, the main niche is like people who are just entering into the coffee world, or maybe just some kind of a juniors level of the experience. This is just the niche for that. So let's start. So first was like, okay, what do I want to build? I had almost like a week to think, maybe 2 weeks, just like thinking about what I want to build. So I was thinking about what I find is relevant and what I want to learn. Since this is a boot camp and there's a lot of technologies that you're learning every day, I decided that I want to do something that I feel very connected to, that I used to work with. How can I improve it? That was the main point where I was starting to go from. The thing of the process, I also want to say I'm sorry for my bland presentation. It's not in the same level as before. But the thing is, like, what we started is like I adopted the agile methodology. It's like where I laid out all the user stories and all the features that my website has, and then categorize them. I don't know if I have it here in a linear. Anyways, with the help of Arrow, I've boiled down the main features that I want my app to have. Also, you have to keep in mind that you cannot build any kind of big project. So basically, it's really good to know, to have an organized time, what you want to build, and that you have core features on. So that was the first part. And then, of course, with this thing came that I've been started working a project with a new technology as TypeScript, which I've never seen before or touched. Building CSS libraries and building CSS components. That's the thing that we're in this thing, when you start building a project, is like you get a new technology and you start to learn by building, but that's what I'm gonna get back to at the end. So the process is agile, and just find something that you really feel connected to. So the technology part, React, TypeScript, and CSS is from the front end, is something that I haven't learned a lot about React and TypeScript, so it's very adventurous time, pulling all ladders. You can do it too, over. And for the backend as well, I've been using TypeScript, a database, Postgres, SQL, Prisma, Express, and also I haven't forgot to say Node.js. We can go skip to the part because time is flying. Lesson that I've learned. I forgot to do it my website. Okay, guys. So lesson that I've learned, you have to have a really good. I had a TypeScript pain. I'm still having it. It's the best thing that happened to me. Before functionality, try to have a good layout. Then being in a functionality debugging mode for 2 days, and then realize you don't have something to show. Authentication, leave it for the end. I lost almost 2 days just trying to figure out authentication. Leave it for the at the end. It's going to be less pain in the ass, and yeah, if it works out, cool. If it doesn't, you still have something to show. VS Code bugs. I realized my program sometimes just have bugs by itself, so restarting it fixed some bugs. Also, like amazing stuff. Yeah, the best thing actually is learning through building project and being uncomfortable. That's the main part that I've actually learned is that even though I've seen 10,000 tutorials and tried to build features, this is probably the best thing that happened to me, how to learn it the best way. It's just go through it and just being comfortable and read a lot of documentation and yes, use ChatGPT wisely. There's a lot of bugs that ChatGPT does, but at some point it actually really helps to automate some stuff like building seed files that you're going to have to need for populating your database. Maybe some little tweaks, let's say in React layout, it can just really fast improve your layout code. Okay, let's move to the website. And then I will skip for questions. Okay, I have 1 minute, and my website is gone. All right, there we go. So this is the Coffee Career Accelerator. So let's start with user story. Okay, I'm a barista. I want to find a job. Where do I go? To Coffee Career Accelerator. So we go. We have an app. Okay, the first thing is I can scroll down. I can see jobs already. Look, nice, cool. So in that case, also have an bar upside. I can go straight to the job that I like. Oh, I like to be a head roaster in Barcelona. Let's go. Click apply. This is a job details page. This is where I want to see what is more about the jobs. And there's some jobs that are also relevant at the bottom. But before I do that, I want to see what gets started. So here is also a page where I can do a login. Since I already created an account, I'm just gonna, you can create an account on this side and log in here. So let's log in. Cool, remember me always. It takes me back to the home page. In that case, I can have my dashboard over here. And here is my also blank part of the app. Profile, where you can see my details and experience, my messages. I can here come edit my CV, and here I can say company dev 01. Just add some details. I'm sorry, this is okay, and this is going to be added up in my profile as an experience. And also I can edit my details, and again I can do log out, and that's it on my website. Thank you very much. Questions? You want to see the code?
So you were using a library of pre-made components. So what did you thought was like the limitations and the pros of using that type of library?
The good side of it is if you have some sort of a short project like this, you can do it really fast. You can find components online. There's a lot of them, and you can just really easily download and tweak them. So it's kind of you can just build some sort of a layout of a website really fast. That's really cool, because some sort of a stuff like how do you want to design a box can be really pain in the ass. So getting into the components is perfect stuff. It's really laid out easily. Pain points, some of the components are in HTML code, so you have to transfer them into React code. Some of the stuff is, as you can see here, right now, but usually the icons and all the little stuff are in SVG and PAT, so they can really mess up your code. Your code is really huge and it's not really easily readable. So you're gonna need more time to short the code down so you have main functionality and easily can navigate through the code. That's probably it. It's super nice to build something short and have some sort of idea what you want, and then have an experience to later integrate just the components. Where, like, when I was building my dashboard page.
Like, you use React, right?
Yeah. So frontend was React and TypeScript.
Okay. Did you just use context or use state or Redux for the state management?
So when it comes to the state management, there's three stuff that I learned about React. Where's my code? I would love to show you. So usually I was using use context, and also it's a real nice thing in React. You have a router, so you can just easily have routes like this, but for the state management is use context. It's gonna be a little bit pain in the ass if you don't know TypeScript and you're learning a little bit React and you start getting to context. It can be quite a bit difficult, but it's worth it. Your code looks much cleaner when you transfer it from state to the other state. TypeScript actually alerts you what's going on, so it's really nice to debug, and then you just fly. Okay. Don is asking how is best to plan the solo project.
Yeah, that's how you do it.
How did I plan it and
what you did.
And what I did. Okay, so first I opened YouTube and saw a 7-day meal plan. So this is first what you have to do, so you don't have to cook and worry about the food. No, I'm joking. Well, you're gonna pull all-nighters, definitely. How I organized, just went with the flow and drink a lot of coffee. The first thing is that if it comes to the agile methodology, really just focus on main parts. So your page, let's say if you do a landing page, that I try to organize myself, that not only that I have the backend solved, my database first and some of my routes, that also I can see what's happening on the front end. So this is usually also, I think everybody shows how they're doing it. You're gonna find your flow when you're doing it. Mine was like, I used to start going with the main features, and then I realized that I have to learn that I have to build some other stuff for some other functionality to be working. So you kind of mitigate it. You have to be smart. And also, I think the most fun part is that you're gonna hit the bug, and you don't know how long it's gonna last. So yeah, prepare for that. Okay. Craig? Yes, please.
Can you expand on why you said layout before functionality?
That doesn't just mean coding front end. That just means also, I forgot to mention it, but having some sort of a wireframe. Having some, let's say, when you're building it, have like this user story in your head. Okay, I'm a user, I get to this page, what do I do first? And when you have this down, that layout, and also the graphic layout, try to visualize the main part that actually leads you to the end, and slowly building that. Layout means like you have, okay, I have 3 buttons, I have 3 different pages, some sort of a layout, so it's much easier to connect where you have to go and what you have to do. My app was like, okay, I'm gonna build this, it's really easy, it's CRUD, like build, delete, and read. But in the end, it takes a lot of, some stuff really takes a lot of stuff to do, like go through it and figure it out, especially if you're learning a new technology like TypeScript. But having some sort of let's say, pre-designed, like a wireframe, and a user story that you can see in the box what goes where, which button that you have to click, what it does, it helps a lot. So you have some sort of components already redesigned, pre-design, and then we could just glue it together.
Victor, let's prepare your presentation. I'm going to give quick feedback, okay?
Okay.
So aside from the feedback in the presentation itself, that I will leave it to you if you want to say something for later, okay? So for the presentation, yeah, the structure of the presentation was fine, yes, but you forgot about the demo. So you went for the lesson, which I love, right? Because it's like the lesson learned is the insights part is my favorite part of the presentation. But yeah, of course, like the demo is like the first part. For me, the introduction was a bit long, so I was already like my stopwatch, and it was like 4 minutes, yeah, into a 7 minutes presentation about the UK market of coffee makers, and so it wanted to go into the presentation. Then the demo was rushed a little bit, which I know also where it's coming from, and I detect some energy in there, and that happens from both you and well, I'm not going to say for what is going to happen later. Well, yes, because you already said that, no? It's like, Victor, no? It's like, well, I don't have my 2%. It's like, hey, that's a solo project. It's the first project that you do in one single week. Okay, that's why we have big guns on the presentation that is 3 weeks. We have even dedicated one project to the group project. That's the one to do, and we have 3 different presentations for that. Just one that is going to go public. Yeah, so we're going to train that. Aside from this, whenever like one thing that you have to think in these presentations is that you were not in the beach for 7 days, right? You were like, as you were saying, you were like working a lot, right? You were like making all-nighters, You were, okay, so aside from the code that you create, aside from the application that you create, that I'm going to say, it's not that small, yes? Aside from that, there's a lot of things that back that up. What were like the technical decisions? What was that bug that keep you up all night? And what was it in the end? What can you show to the audience? Because it's not an audience that is like BPs or anything. Like they're like mainly like classmates and juniors. There's some valuable information here for them not to go into the same problem again, right? So it's a presentation of your work, yeah. And my work is not only the outcome. It's not only like, hey, I have this view and this other. It's my learning. I can tell you guys. Not because I see your presentation as that, but the presentations that I love the most are presentations about failures. These are the better presentations ever. Yes, because they are sharing a learning, a very valuable learning. Okay? Try to also, if you feel that down, try to turn that around. Let's say, what can I teach? What are the failures that I can talk about? These are the presentations that I do that. But aside, I know, like you don't want to present like a beautiful app only, but it was actually what beautiful. You have like a good sense on routine styles. So take it as a win, because that's actually a skill. And aside from that, good job. Yes, good job. I feel proud about that. And Victor, at least I did that. Like I say these things before you present. Yes. So chin up and present about all the work that you did. That is not little. Okay. The outcome is one thing. The work that you did is another one. And hence comes the learnings. Okay? So focus on that. Good job. Okay? Good job.
So my app, I thought about it because I worked a lot in event management. This t-shirt, for example, is from one that I used to work in. And we always realize that managing events can be overwhelming, like designing a structure, controlling costs, tracking stock, human resources, analyzing data. It was all a lot. Since I worked in the industry, I've seen that apps that are designed for this kind of use are normally confusing and also very, very ugly. But very ugly. They have too much navigation, too much inputs, too much windows, too much options, pop-ups, data, a lot of stuff. And they can also be overwhelming. So at the end, you kind of like spend more time learning how to actually use the app than the time it saves you and the convenience it gives you. So that's why I decided to make my own event management app, where you can have everything in a very simple way, so you can enjoy your concerts, your festivals, instead of stressing out about them. I want it to be easy to use, easy to navigate, easy to implement, and easy on the eyes. So overall, easy to manage. Now the technologies I used, were React for the front end, Express for the server, PostgreSQL as a database, Prisma as a manager for the database, and TypeScript all over the project, front and back end. TypeScript in particular and Postgres were quite difficult due to the complexity of the project, especially Postgres. And TypeScript, well, you'll see what TypeScript is all about. It's really helpful, but it can give a lot of problems if you don't know how to use it. Well, again, the event management app by event managers. So let's jump straight to the demo because we have little time. First I want to show you, like, this is my database. This is what I was talking about, the complexity. It has a lot of connections, a lot of different tables, a lot of many-to-many relationships. Like, the actual interesting part of the project starts in the backend. Okay, as you see, I haven't been able to do the statistics, but well, here this doesn't take as long, but I just wanted to show the loading, that I think it's a nice kind of touch. So it has a simple profile page where it has your data. You can put like a photo of the event, like your logo and your details, and then the actual functionality. Here, the clubs. This is the display where you can see all your clubs, all the bars that are at your clubs, all the cashiers, and all the bartenders per cashier. Okay, this is all divided so that all stands where it should be. Now, you can edit those cashiers, so you can create a new club. Now, for the purpose of the demo, let us create one. Let's call it the Arrow Tech Club. Okay, so here we see we created it. Now let's go and edit it. Okay, so here we have the club name. We can change it, but for now let's leave it like that. And we can add bars. For purpose of speed, I'm just going to put A, and for example, A, bar A. We can add a cashier, that can be B. Okay, and we need to select, that's important. It won't let you add a cashier without linking it to a bar, because cashiers go with bars. So here you can see you have the cashier and the bar, and with the cashier is linked to. Here you can also add the bartender, and you can add it to the cashier. So you can see the options only exist the ones that are present in the club you are creating. You can't assign a bartender to a cashier that's on a club that isn't the one you're in. So let's add here, and so you can see here. From here you can edit all kinds of stuff. You can edit, for example, the name, let's call it D, and you can change the bar. Here, as you can see, we only have 8 as a bar, so we can change it, but if you want it, you could. But unusual bug that I haven't noticed. We can go back, we can also delete, for example, clubs. Are you sure you want to delete? All delete options come with a pop-up, because I thought it was important. Because actually while developing, sometimes I was trying stuff and I didn't want to delete something and I clicked it by accident. So that's why I came up with this little mode here. So make sure that you only delete what you want to delete. Now, products. This is a product layout. You have the product with the price, the cost, the clubs you have the product at, and the sub-products you can sell that product with. So, for example, let's go to another page. So, for example, here you have rum. You can put it with Coca-Cola, with Fanta, with Red Bull and all that stuff. Let's go to the edit here. You can also change the product name, change the product price. Here, for example, you can put it to €5 here. You can change it and see how here it changed. You can add the clubs here. There's no data because it's already present in both of these. However, if we delete this one and we want to add the club, you can see it's here. This is a multiple option, so for example, you can delete this one too, and instead of adding one by one, you can just choose both of them and add them. Now, the subproducts. You can select the subproducts you want to add, like for example, like this much. I can select the price, so that if all of these are going to have an added price of the same, for example 5, we can add them all at the same time. Now, for example, you can see, because it's in another page, or wait, another unexpected button. Oh, this was working yesterday. Anyway, here it is. You can also edit them, you can change the added price, and you can delete them. You go back to the page, you can delete the whole product, and there's a lot of interesting things happening in the backend. Like for example, if I take beer and I edit beer, let's take these 2 clubs away. Okay. And now I come here to, for example, ampersand here, I edit, and I add the subproduct here. Yeah. It's a bit buggy now, I don't know why. And we go back, you can see that beer has now been added to these 2 clubs. However, if you now edit beer and you take away this club, this was the part that was most challenging for me of the project. Like, the data is persisting behind the scenes. So you've added it and you've taken that club, which means that the relation between that subproduct and that club has been deleted. So even when you use that and you're trying to use like the product you added it to, will still have the beer as a subproduct, but only in the club where beer is present. The last page. This is all I was able to do for stock control. But well, you get the idea. You have your stock with the units, you can set a minimum stock, you can set a margin, and you can set a variation. Variation, especially in events, is important because, for example, you buy alcohol by the bottle, but you save it, so you sell it by the drink. And this is why the variation here is important. Each drink will diminish your units by this amount. And you can actually choose it. Here you have the cost, and that the cost is also calculated automatically, depending on how much the order has cost you. Here the clubs you have it present in, and the stock for each club, and also the difference between the minimum stock and the actual stock you have. The margin, for example, you can choose so that when this is like the order margin, I should change it anyway. This is the order margin. So if here you see we have 1,000 and the minimum stock is 900, here you can see that it's in orange because we are already inside the order margin. We should be ordering. And this one's in red because you can see that here, for example, we have 0 units of beer. We have a minimum stock of 700. So we are missing here.
Okay.
That's all I have.
No insights?
No insights.
Yeah.
Learning insights, like please don't do a layout. So don't work using a layout method because we use a functionality method, like plan functionalities and code them entirely back and front end and everything, because if you do it by layers and you plan on the back end, then you're going to end up.
Okay, I have a question. How's the group project going? Because
Best thing, you're in the middle. Take them to a cage, let them fight.
no, I think that is more a matter. I think that is more a matter of. Can you stop dropping money, please?
I want to see a
You're
fight.
rich. Okay. So it was like, I think it's a matter of wording, because it's completely the opposite that Herba said, right? It's like layout before functionality, and then you're saying functionality before layout. But I don't think that either either of
No, I didn't by layout. I did by layers. Like, like entirely building the back end, then entirely building the front end.
That's what okay. No, but I just said layout. No, I think that everybody just said layout. So that's it. That's why I was saying it's a wording problem. I think that no one meant layout. Now it's clarified. It's layers on Victor's side, and for you it's wireframe. Which actually you're saying the same thing. Focus on the functionality first. Focus on the user story. Focus on the user journey. Yes? And once you have the user journey design, then you create, like Victor is saying, which by the way is a great insight. Yes? Focus on functionality, not layers. Yes? And actually, that's something that we try to battle a lot. That makes you deploy something like ship something that actually is meaningful and that can work. Maybe it's not complete, but it works. Victor, I have to go, okay, real quick. Then the feedback is going to be more private in your case, but now I'm going to leave you with Olga. But what I want to say is like, what the fuck were you meaning when saying like I don't have much to show? What's happening? This is like the one, that person that says like, no, I'm going to fail this test, and if it gets an A plus or something like this. So it was I quit. Mic drop. Okay, we talk tomorrow about technical feedback. Okay, I'll leave you.
Questions, and I don't need to take questions.
Good work. Yes, questions. Sorry.
Ruben, let's go.
Just another question. Just tell Victor that I really appreciate that he shifted away from one spreadsheet approach from the beginning.
I really designed this project for my last business, well, the one that I work with always, and they wanted to have as much information as they could in one single place. So like they wanted it to be like kind of a huge spreadsheet, and I just decided no way.
Don't believe them. When they tell you the requirements and features, don't believe them.
Great.
I'm wondering how much work he did with database types before.
What I learned here at Arrow. I had never coded this except like 1 month before I started Arrow. I learned kind of like basic JavaScript. All I learned here. So this is what you can expect to be able to do if you like it.
Great.
What does Victor think went really well? Like what was something he was happy he did and went as well?
Okay, so apart from the unexpected bugs that happened during the presentation, that I must have broke something, so I have a few hours of debugging ahead of time. Like actually the managing the database. Like since I was planning to have statistics, when you delete something, I couldn't just delete it. So I entirely from the database, I had to still maintain the information. So like actually deciding which information to maintain, which one to delete. And I had to learn about soft deletes and all that stuff, and cascading the soft deletes through the database. It was like pretty complicated, and at least the parts that I was able to implement went really, I think, worked well. And I'm really proud about that part in particular.
Nice. Did you spend most of the time with working with the databases?
Or? No, not really. Like I also spent a lot of time like choosing how to display the information, because there's a lot of information, and the display I wanted it to be kind of simple and not have a lot of navigation. So that was also kind of complicated. But yeah, like I spent a lot of time more like in the requests to the database, like in the server part. Because I have, for example, some functions that is for delete information, or create or modify information that actually have like 5 or 6 calls to the database.
Because there's a lot of implications.
Exactly. So how did you test? How do you figure out how to test your solution? Because Herba says there are a lot of implications there.
I used a awful way. I went to Postman. I had an option, but I don't have it anymore because I got so fed up with it. I changed it. But I had an option that was get all. And I got everything. And I just select my entire database. I also then used when Ruben suddenly came and he said, dude, use Prisma, whatever, and you can just actually access like the client of Prisma in a local host, and then I started using that. But yeah, at the start I did like that. I just had to go checking line after line, line after line. Like now it seems more complicated because I have a huge zip file with a lot of information, and my zip file is super big. But at the start I only had like one club with a few things, so it was much easier to manage. So I implemented those functionalities, and then afterwards I implemented all the actual data. But at the start it was much easier to test.
I guess for Victor and for Erica, since you both mentioned it, do you have any cautionary words about TypeScript? Like, what are you guys actually, where are you hitting problems, and what should we look out for?
Wow. TypeScript, I have a love-hate relationship with TypeScript. Like, I love it, like, for example, when I have everything correctly set up, and I'm like trying to do something, and he says, hey, you can't do that. I'm like, hey, you're right. I can't do this, you're right. If you were using JavaScript there, you would have had a bug that maybe you could have taken a lot of time to find. But then when you don't have TypeScript entirely set up, like all the types and all the interfaces, you are trying to do something and TypeScript is not letting you, and you're like, please leave me alone. I want to keep working. Like, this works in JavaScript, why aren't you letting me?
Yeah, the best way is actually watch some good tutorials just for the start, just to get familiarized with some terms like words, types, interface, generics and stuff like that, just to get into it. Don't start very complicated, start simple. Like go step by step, like you're climbing a hill. It happened to me that once I kind of just breezed through it. I haven't really checked the tutorials. I was like, let's just go dive into it and see what happens. When I hit the context, I was just, yeah, it just got me. But don't be afraid, guys. You just start simple and then improve. That's my advice. And that kind of stuff. Good tutorials, as in videos, can help you, but learning actually the hard way, like going through it, it's the best way.
Okay then. So I think with this we have everything covered. I'm going to say a couple things regarding like presentation itself, both for Herb and Victor. And then Earl is going to give you the technical feedback, Victor, after, okay? So regarding the presentation itself, I believe that it was good for both of you, but for the both of you, I mean, it was very noticeable that the time you dedicated to the presentation was minimal.
Yeah, 7 days.
Yeah, 7 days, right? So, so I mean, for the time you actually dedicated and for the panic that I saw today in both of you, like a couple hours ago, I mean, you actually did a good job. So congratulations. It could have gone way worse,
Yeah.
but it could have gone way better because you don't necessarily need to forget about the demo. And Victor, you don't necessarily need to forget about the lessons learned and the insights and stuff like that, right? So preparing the presentation, and I cannot stress that enough, and yeah, that's like my side of things, that's not the technical side. But the presentation is equally important as the project at the end, because, and here, fine, because in the end, Errol and the instructors, they all know what you've been going through. But in the actual job, when you're presenting something to your directors, they're going to need to understand what you did, right? And they are not there with you all the way. They're not there to see what you're doing every day. So they'll just want to see the result. And if you don't communicate it properly, if you don't prepare, you're failing that. So you're not communicating it properly, and they will not see the effort behind it. They will not recognize your work. So in the end, it's essential for you to be able to dedicate the time to presenting. And that's just a learning for you, for future you. And for the juniors, and for you also for the group project, dedicate time to the presentation, okay? And not because I say so, because it's actually relevant, okay? But in general, good job. Also, something that Aurora mentioned to me, and that goes for the both of you. And again, mental note for the next projects for everybody else. So try to use real seed data for demo whenever you can. So for example, in case of Victor, and however you did the same, like I don't know, a coffee roastery or a club called Roll Dev is cool. But if you can, whenever you can use if you can always use real data or data that seems real, it's always way better because you put the person in a situation and it actually makes it that much more impactful. Okay. And yeah, I would say those are my main things. Just a bit more preparation also gives you more calmness, but other than that, all good. So yeah, that's it from my side. Congratulations, and let's go for the group project.